Yeah, Milo. But I got to where I wanted to be. I just flew where I wanted to look. And then I naturally moved on, how people rate as a series of just because I wanted to be ready. But so I want to see not so much as being detrimental to their health necessarily, but I do want to see the results. I want to see the character that's kicking ass.
He did all of that over the course of like 6 hours. Okay, and then
oh my god, it's like that would be like
the whole
to just get the best of life. Let's do it.
There's a lot of people that thought that no drama.
For 300? Well, they use
300 is a lot of AI because
yeah, I don't know. It has CGI, for sure. Yeah.
So here's how you do that no more. That's pretty much the fucking end of it. That was real shit, man. But we had so much drama to really just develop. Like, I like to just roll like your stuff. You gotta roll your thing. It's just do what they did, or you get a lot of actual color.
It's not that easy that I can't sit and it's on paper. It's easy, but like, with a mom of 2 kids though, like, it's and having a job. In the last 2 years, I hard for us to write time for myself. And I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning, so I'm awake at 5 o'clock with my kids. And, I choose during that time to, meditate, write my journal, take time to myself, and then I wake up. That's what I figured out
Just get the fuck out. It's not my world. It's not my world. I never did. It says for a reason they were just hearing about it now. It's fucking the amount of hours that help people be in positions and help all these types of people shit like that. Somebody else. Somebody else. That's the way I'm gonna go out. We have conversations every night. We look at each other. He knows I don't give a fuck. I don't know what you're talking about. You want to push out. Shut the fuck up.
But you can go to my YouTube channel because during COVID I was doing my workouts and I said to my husband, I was like, I have to record this shit right out there. So yeah, and all of them are fun and interesting and easy and
Traffic, go fuck yourself. You're fucking making traffic, you cunt. I hope you fucking hands your mouth. Fuck you. I ate a bunch of days. I got stuck on that goddamn woman march. And I don't know why they were bitches. Okay, you don't Trump. And guess what? Maybe you should have rushed your ass to the fucking alright? Because he told you 3 weeks before. Hey, I want to check you out of police. And you know what? Most of America was like, cool with that. That's alright. I can only
from HR or something, and they're interested in like, look, you know,
they should have done something when they had the job.
And now I know, but you know what I'm doing?
About being a Democrat?
I'm now already in my head trying to write a children's book
until the end of the game to win the fucking game.
Yeah, it's like this ADHD. Like I'm on my last play. Let's make it. So
yeah, on Sunday. You thought I was going to settle it? No, we're going to settle it. Okay,
it's gonna be a pop-up book. So it's gonna be COVID, the brain waves is like
These assholes, these so fucking Democrat pussies, all fucking crying. I wanna reach out. I wanna reach out. I wanna get the look of color.
do they ever attack together? Do they work in coordination?
You know on Sunday, you don't wake up.
Because that would be like if a bunch of women like cycle
everybody, I know we all see each other in the biggest, you know, fucking choke you can ever lose.
really want to each other.
So,
Like,
now,
there would
everybody
be,
get
that would be on fire, like it would be on fire, right? A chairperson for each other.
on the Super Bowl, New England won, we really won.
Well, maybe it's good use of technology. Maybe for that.
Well, I enjoy AI because I am studying self-preservation for sure. Just actually like, I am
I'm sorry.
not just to my family, you know.
But you tried to fucking choose.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it will always have a place. You just have to be mindful and you have to figure out
I'm not saying
where to, you know,
the country.
I don't know, just
We had presidencies. It wasn't like rice, bro.
a lot of pivoting.
You know, the most of the past was
So my podcast is once a week every Tuesday. It's called the Stuff Show. It was called blah blah blah, but people couldn't find it. So we just changed it to the Stuff Show, and we're actually, like I said, doing in the new year. We watched this because I like I said, I've never seen it. I'm curious about it.
Yeah, we were with the syrup.
It's like,
It is fun. I had a lot of fun. I'm just trying to be like, you know, a that's good at it. There's a reason why that's
it's like what they got for
I love talking to people, and it literally helped me figure out what I see. I couldn't talk about shit. I was like, hey, listen. I did. My first interview with Grace Dallas Howard, God love her, and I listened to it back in the car with my husband, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to talk about. I order a couple of money. I do.
You know, it's like you can tell the job. I should 3 weeks for you to stop. The whole person who's in country all tend to do something like that.
I can't wait 3 weeks. I ain't got fucking 3 weeks. Fucking 3 weeks. You know, it's a fucking Bible. Everything. That's why I didn't take this fucking way. That's why I took the place in here. I got offered a bigger place that would have to charge more for tickets, and I said no. My fans can't do that. I said so. Okay, you want to fucking go pay $120 and laugh at fucking soft jokes from Jay Seinfeld? There it is. If you want $35 banging you in the face and talking about teabagging bitches, I got you covered. I'll give you way more fucking laughs than he will.
You know, one of the things that came out of it for me was that I kind of idea where I had weekly conversations with we would like every Tuesday at 4 o'clock, we would connect together. Wonderful. Time again.
And they're coming out. And for all the love you showed me my first 2 weeks church, we're gonna do a giveaway. All right, where I'll be talking to ladies.
Because
let's
they're
fucking get all of you fucking the real deal
to see people very differently.
motherfuckers. Okay, all right.
They're really, because
And
it's not like a
you
social
fucking win.
podcast. Like,
You start talking about
if you
me
might have
and
something
Matt
on you,
Flavor,
flying
Jim.
not here to like your partners, you know.
Nice,
And
Oh, yeah.
the conversations are really,
She's already fucked up. Yeah, she's
and
she's
people are talking about things we've never spoken about. And
So we
it's
gotta
really
get
fun
to
because
it.
I really enjoy it.
Noble D, I'm bringing. Okay, so I'm bringing Darren from Colorado. So I got that party going. Alright, I'm gonna bring George out under the auspices that it might be a sports
You
show.
know, like if I have
Of course, George fucking Jersey. I'm not going nowhere, right? I know he's got a girl and gets this one thing.
I wrote an album.
Bringing a chicken red cheesy, lemon red cheesy pizza. They just can't like that.
Oh, of course there is. Of course there is. And I think that I've got that right balance. I have the right partner that's like super supportive and real into me. Yeah, it's just, I feel like I got that right. I think it's the next one. There's always going to be an announcement.
Let's keep it fucking funny. It's fucking funny. My fucking
You'll have to come on my podcast.
T-shirts. I really suck my big ass balls. Fuck yeah. Who knew we had a church in Ireland? Okay, me and you.
I think what's going on, but I don't even know what's going on with the last 2 weeks. I haven't seen that. I saw that today and I said, wow, that's the first time I've seen anything on MMA.
Yeah, that's all I
There's a fight this week.
Yeah, it's broken. I place money on him.
Nobody even knows nothing. Like, nobody said nothing. Nobody's called. That's why I didn't know. I'm like, I've also seen the fucking thing today. This week, nobody's talking about this fucking fight. See, brother. I've been hanging, man. I'm sure if journey initially started, you're a musician, had a plan to join those things down. You couldn't believe what a nice guy you were. Friendship. I can't believe I grew up in the town I used to smoke then where this guy quit the club because he was wrong. This honesty, I know, and I tried to be that matter. I started with guys, members, different. Some place you can see outside, smoke a joint, play fucking musician, fall out fast, nobody sees me. There's some place watching you stick out like a fucking sword and watch it. Which my boys do. Nothing's matter. I started with sweat start, right? I was trying to get it's just I don't know what it is. It makes you sweat. That's not very tough. That's the sugar cubes make you sweat. The sugar just so it's out there. It's what's in the motherfucking shitty shirts that makes you sweat. Oh shit, at his house hanging out with him. Like, guys, they're really nice guys. Why you don't highlight? Don't figure that. Just my she made this for me, and I'm aware, right? I just want you to look at that every now and then. It's gonna be a safe place for you, alright? Alright, you need to look at anything, you know, look at that stuff. It's on the yellow, okay? Just find me the yellow. Alright, I got the yellow. It's not even that I was scared.
and drinking, like some girls. I don't know, maybe they were doing it. I didn't see fun. I didn't see any of this. Maybe some so much. And it's ecstasy.
Ecstasy coke.
Yeah, I didn't see much ecstasy coke until I got here.
We just filled these conversations.
Party of a guy I work with.
Sort of
I didn't really see it. I saw them in the room.
you think of something
That's why I told you I have old dragons because I like the tequila. This is the key to reuse.
you realize
They're like 22 or something.
just doing kebabs and
And it's
they have this rigid idea of how they fit in.
That's awesome. It's that I never really, I think they just my introduction to like psychedelics is the podcast, but that talking about a little bit of I've never
You're the same assholes. Well, we were fucking. Then you go on vacation, mushrooms, every weekend. It's like totally different Boy Scout camp. We can have that fucking matter. Anything camping, dinner, fucking didn't matter. Fucking shrooms were on the menu everywhere. Everybody has got people guys who don't give a hell about, and when I saw,
yeah, like Jill said, that is totally something that you can do, but there's a difference between the heart of the law and like the letter of the law, basically. Yeah. And then the heart of the law, or that you're getting at here, it's not like every time something happens to your roof that you are entitled to it. Right. Yeah. Well, again, it's this collective action problem where everyone does it. It's hopefully got our insurance rates across the board, but it's also going to lead to higher insurance rates. 440 starting to say this was a conversation with his friend. What if you do? Whoever does this is going to see increased premiums, for themselves as well. That's costing all of us money. And
Web3 isn't coming. It's here. It's changing the way brands connect, create, and grow. At Billions Mighty World, we live in that future. From strategy to execution.
Unwittingly file a claim and move forward. But this is ultimately why we're seeing rates rise across the board for all of us. But one thing to keep in mind, know that insurance companies, they have gotten wise to this day. They are pushing back more forcefully though. So even still, despite the allure of a free roof, I think it's ethically dubious. And on top of that, aside from the ethics, from a financial standpoint, they could end up going back and fighting. Yeah, here's my friend. All right, hey, we got more money saving information to get to go first. Let's go to the KFI 24 hour.
I might be put on this live in my 24-hour newsroom.
Let's say New York City, everything's got to be on paper. Got to sign this contract, and they want things like yesterday. It's very fast paced, etc. So you sign a contract, and people adhere to it. Whatever. My experience in the South, say Mississippi, Georgia, something like that, they don't care about contracts. Even the shake is good enough. They feel that they're worth their bond. So, you present them with a contract, it's like, well, you don't trust me. Right. In the Midwest, which is where I'm from originally, it takes a while for people to get to know you. They know you before they commit. They're very close to the best. Out in California, it's like, I'll get around to it maybe next week, maybe the week after.
Right. Now, Jeff, how did you guys meet? So, I was contacted by a filmmaker, and they said, would you come down and film as part of this program? So I didn't know I was meeting Daryl Davis in the movement. We knew who Daryl Davis was because he was pulling people out of this. Explain the movement, what movement you were a part of. I was a part of the National Socialist movement. Which is Nazis. For people that don't. It sounds like socialists, like, college campuses, you want Marxism, free healthcare for all. No. Different kind of socialism. Yeah. Neo-Nazism. Yeah. So, and how did you get indoctrinated into that? So I was a part of that movement for 20. Wow. 25. How old are you? So I'm 51. Okay, you look young. I thought you were about 40. I was like, what the fuck? Well, that's okay. No, you look good. Thank you. Which is crazy for a Nazi. You think it's a lot of stress. You think it is a lot of stress. There's a lot of stress. Yeah, look, I lost my hair. Mine too. So how old were you when you got into it? When I first started the fascination with it was about fourth grade.
Fourth grade.
How? My grandfather fought in Hitler's army during the war. My great uncles did as well. So my mother and grandparents came over after the war.
Wait a minute, fought in Hitler's army?
Correct.
Oh, they fought for the Nazis.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So my mother and grandparents came over after the war. But so one would think, so he was indoctrinated by his family. Not the truth. Quite opposite, actually. But I was fascinated. I knew that history, and I knew that my grandfather had fought. I looked up to him. So sought out on a journey myself, and
What attracted you to that? Like, first of all, you said you haven't been in Detroit church. Are you from Detroit?
yes. Well, I'm based.
So were you living in Detroit at the time?
Yes.
So why made you fascinated with Nazis living in Detroit?
Well, I grew up in rural Minnesota. I live in knowing that family history. My grandfather, and I thought, he's a strong, and I'm just gonna say it. Like, I thought it was cool. There's nothing cool about it, but I wasn't taught to teenager quickly rise up through the ranks within the national leader of that organization, and I was there for 27 years. So I was taught racism and hate and to be an anti-Semite.
Now, when you were in the fourth grade, what were you? Do you remember what your feelings were about people?
I wasn't a racist at that point or anything like that. It was just thinking that it was cool seeing the videos of, I remember watching old World War II documentaries, thinking I'm going to find my grandfather in these footages, and I just looked up to him and I sought out that path. And once you're indoctrinated, once you join and you're overwhelmed with this kind of ideology, it becomes your whole world. It's your echo chamber. Everything about it, everything that you're involved in circles around that world.
And so, like, when you're in the fourth grade and get interested in this, how do you eventually, like, join up and meet the Nazis? Like, how does that happen?
Well, at that age, you're not meeting the Nazis or anything like that. Today, kids are online.
Right.
They are.
That's a good point.
Right. But at that point, I wasn't. So I was searching it out. I was 18 and I'm joining.
Yeah, you didn't have Kanye songs back then.
Right.
So crazy. Like, someone needs to pull Kanye aside and give him a hug. That sounds crazy. So, what was the first organization that you, like, officially became a part of, and what did they do?
So the National Socialist Movement was the group that I sought out.
How did you find them, first of all? Because this was all before the internet, right?
Right. This was a really kind of strange story. So I'm looking for books. I'm trying to read everything I can on it. I'm trying to find these.
Did you have other hobbies or just being a Nazi?
No. I had
other baseball or anything like that?
I was a long-haired rock and roll singer.
No fucking way.
Right.
That seems like so. That's like Jump Shrimp, right? Counter. How are you a rock and roll? Rock and roll is all about, like, freedom and creativity and expression.
I know there's a lot of counterintuitive stuff in my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's complicated.
Yeah.
So when you first found these people, rock and roll musician, and how do you find them?
So I found them in a book at the library, and it was written by a sociologist or something, and they had all these addresses of everybody that participated in the book in the back of the book. So I'm physically writing, not like emailing, writing all these organizations, and then I eventually.
How old were you at the time?
Like 18.
So you're 18, you're writing Nazi groups saying, hey, I'm ready. Sign me up?
Yep.
Wow. Okay, so who responds?
So some of the groups were closed down at that point, but most of the groups responded, and looking through all the literature, and I meet up with the National Socialist Movement at the time. It was called National Socialist American Workers' Freedom Movement. Again, this is the Nazis.
That's a lot of words.
That's right, Don. Yeah. So
American Workers' Freedom Movement?
Yeah, that's a lot of and
freedom for some people.
Yeah. It's like another counter.
Socialist for some people.
Right. Socialism, not left wing.
Yeah, weird socialism. Were they involved in, like, so when you meet them, do you have to have, like, is there a vetting process? Do they make sure you're not a Fed or sit you down? What are you looking for?
Why are you involved? Why are you interested? Yeah, back then the group was pretty small, but the reason that I picked that a handful of states at the time I joined, it was pretty small. It was a continuation of the movement of George Lincoln Rockwell, who was the original. That's why I wanted to join that particular organization, because it had that. He always wanted to be as close to the German movement as possible. And so that was the group that I sought out. And then there is like a vetting process. You know, they want to know, you sign up an application, and later on in the group, I was doing things like having people sign non-disclosure agreements and doing background checks on people. I want to point this out because this is a really crazy fact. Blow a lot of people's minds. Before World War II, Nazi rally in Madison Square Garden. It is nuts when you see it in Madison Square Garden, and you see, you know, the swastika, the whole deal, and you're like, this is before anybody did this was evil, right? Like back then, that was an ancient Hindu symbol. Like there's a Hindu temple near my old house in California, and it has swastikas all over it. And they, because of the temple's from the 1800s, and they have to tell people, hey, like this is a sign. Hey, it's not that kind of swastika.
Right, back in 2018, the State Department sent me over to India to speak and lecture. And you see these symbols, like, it's a peace, good luck kind of thing.
It was also a symbol for Shotokan karate. When I was a kid, when we would meet these Shotokan karate tournaments, we'd go to tournaments and meet these practitioners. Some of them would have swastika patches. This is in the 80s. This is nuts. Jamie, show that photo again. Oh, okay, show the video. It's really crazy because you see this enormous crowd. And this was before people had associated Nazis with the bad thing. You know, back then, it was this National Socialist Party. They thought, okay, by the way, that's how everybody used to salute the American flag. Did you know that? Yes. Which is really crazy. Nazi salute now that Elon got in trouble for, that is how you used to pledge of allegiance. And then once the Nazis came on, all right, we got to abandon that. This is connected. Gonna ditch the little mustache and no more of that. But this is it's a crazy video to watch. Big thing, like how things get shit.
You know, the highest percentage of white people in this country are of German descent.
Really?
Yes, or British descent.
Wow, I had no idea.
A lot of people think it's British.
I would have thought, yeah, God, that's nuts. And you notice in the video, Joe, they also have George Washington up there. So yes, they've Americanized, Nazism.
What up, Mr. Aquarius?
Right? This was racial cleansing.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm lovely, thank you.
I think that all came later, but this was all part of the movement here in the U.S.
And thankfully.
What was the core tenets of this movement, the American?
Just waking up.
Before the war.
I took a nap.
And they were allied with, Hitler's National Socialism. So was it anti-Semitic? Was it anti-Jewish back then? Yes. It was. Even so, this whole rally was a big anti-Semitism rally. Yeah, I mean, it was before my time, buddy. You're a historian. Yes. Like you're an enthusiast. I was. Yeah. So, when you first get brought in, you're 18. Like, what do they give you tasks to do? Do they teach you about things? Like, how's it go? Yeah. So a lot of the propagandizing is books that you're reading and studying and stuff. Like meetings, you would have literature distributions. It would do like Mein Kampf. Like what kind of reading that? Yeah, I had already read that by 16. But the group is recommending things like that, or Henry Ford's International Jew, other that as well. Is that Henry Ford, the car guy? Yes. He wrote a book called International Jew.
Yes. You know, he was very, very anti-Semitic, and he supported the Nazis.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Henry Ford had a picture of Hitler on his desk, and Hitler had a picture of Henry Ford on his desk. Whoa.
You'd be surprised, man, about some of the people. Walt Disney, same thing. IBM.
Oh, I knew about Walt. No. I had heard about Walt Disney, and I as well. Well, I mean, so many German auto manufacturers, right? Like Audi, Volkswagen, you know, all started off as Nazis. Even Mercedes wasn't a Nazi-owned company.
I don't know if they were owned by the Nazi company.
That was one of the craziest things about the Kanye thing, because Kanye lost his contract with Adidas because he had said anti-Semitic things. Adidas was started by the Nazis. Wow. It was just like, wow.
Advance and change.
Yes.
You know, the Red Cross, you know, finally allow black blood. They said, donate blood.
Yes. What was
that when the Red Cross first started collecting blood? Okay, because, as you know, or you probably know, Charles Drew, black scientist, right, was the one who discovered how to give, blood transfusions, right? So Red Cross began collecting blood, and they would not take black blood. And then when they finally took black blood, they segregated it. It doesn't matter if it's black versus white. You should segregate by O positive or O negative, whatever it is, right? But not by the color of someone's skin.
That's crazy. So they give you books, they, kind of indoctrinate you. Like, what is it involved in being a member? Champions are made and legends are tested as UFC 321 brings Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane to the world. And DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of UFC, puts all the action from Abu Dhabi in the palm of your hand. The heavyweight belt is on the line. All faces gone, but the night doesn't stop there, and DraftKings Sportsbook delivers the unmatched intensity right to your fingertips. From takedowns to tap out to the thrill of live $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get paid out through the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code ROGAN. Code ROGAN to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Ship with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling. Gambler in New York, call 878-OPEN-Y or text OPEN-Y. In Connecticut, help is available from gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit .org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. Well, this was growing up. Now, and I try not to blame anybody else because these are my choices, my poor choices, so I take responsibility for that. But at 19 years old, that changed my trajectory, and I felt like my whole world just collapsed at that point.
Did you think, like, wow, all these people are mad at me, maybe I'm wrong?
No, you would think with this kind of stuff going on in your life, you would reflect on that, but I doubled down, and that's pretty common in that world when someone is faced with that kind of pressure, is they double down, they become more entrenched. So it's like every lash of anybody that tried to stop me from being involved in it or tried to dissuade me, they just made me more dedicated to it. Common for anybody that's involved in it. It separates you from your family, from those you love. It isolates you. And what my mother's career is, as I mentioned, she was a lawyer. She was a judge. She had ran to be a judge. She was elected in the state of Minnesota. There's at the time, and there was a formality in this, the way my mother explained to me at the time. She says, the governor called me, and she said, Mrs. Scoop, you are fit to be a judge in this. So that was just devastating. That's something I carry that guilt and shame to this day. At the time, I was like, okay, the system is after my family. That's how I felt. And it just made me more radical.
Did you have a job at the time? What'd you do for a job?
I was doing all kinds of things. Pizza Hut, and, just anywhere I could.
Your main
Around the time I met Daryl Davis.
Were you already having second thoughts about the direction of your life?
That's a tough one to answer. I was starting to see the humanity in others. Like after I moved to Detroit in December of 2007, and Detroit's a majority minority city, or people of different races, or interactions with people of other races. By 2016, I met Daryl Davis, and like I said, I didn't know I was meeting Daryl Davis, but
How'd you guys meet?
it was for Daryl's film, Accidental Courtesy. Okay. So they had reached out and they explained the show, and I said, okay, because any opportunity to spread the propaganda of the movement, I'm going to do it, unless it was like Jerry Springer or something. So it sounded legit. I agreed to it. Didn't know I was meeting Daryl. I still would have done it, but I would have probably prepared to debate this guy, because I knew who he was. I knew he was pulling people out of the movement, and so called Chris's Hot Dogs in Alabama, where Hank Williams had written a song. It was, hey, good looking kid out there, right? Right. And my girl and I were sitting outside, and Daryl steps out of a vehicle, and I'm thinking, I recognize this guy. He comes up, shakes my hand, and we shake hands, and I'm thinking, he says, hi, I'm Daryl Davis, you must be Jeff Scoop. And I'm thinking, where do I know that name from? Where do I know his face? It didn't quite register, because I'm just thinking about, this debate that we're going to get into. And then after we sat down, it clicked. It was like, oh, this is the guy that gets people out of these organizations. So at this point, I'm the head of the National Socialist Movement, and Daryl and I are getting along great. We're talking about music, we're talking
this Black Lives Matter, different, people. And they said, do you know Jeff Scoop? And I said, I know who he is. I've never met him. Would you be open to talking with him and interviewing him? I said, sure. So they contacted him. And then they let me know, okay, we were down in Alabama at the time. He's going to come down to Alabama, tomorrow, and went to this place called Chris's Hot Dog Stand, Chris's Grill, whatever, where Hank Williams made famous. And when I did this interview in there, so they said they got me a rental car, put me at the hotel, and said we're going to get everything set up. We'll have Jeff here, and we're going to film you when you first come in and meet Jeff. We'll catch that on camera, then you'll sit down across from us and interview him. I said, okay, fine. So I go to the hotel, wait for their call. They call and say, okay, we're ready. So I get in this rental car and I drive to the grill. And when I pull up, I see who looks like Jeff sitting on this bench out front, this girl. So I'm thinking, well, that can't be him because he's supposed to be inside sitting in the middle. So I just sat in the vehicle, looking at him, trying to figure this out. Maybe he came out for a smoke or something like that. I'm watching him, he's not going inside. So I got out, and when I got out and started walking towards him, I said, I never met him, I knew what he looked like. I said, why is out here? So I went over, I said, hey, are you Jeff Scoop? He goes, yeah. I said, I'm Daryl Davis. Shook his head. He was speaking to his lady friend. And I said, I thought you were supposed to be inside. Well, I wasn't, so I just came out or whatever. So we walked. Of course, didn't get to capture the moment that we met. So they're like all freaked out and stuff. And we sat down in the booth. And I started interviewing him, and as he pointed out, he was getting along too well with me. And, just chit-chatting, talking about music and this, that, and the other. And he's saying, he was a musician. I said, I'm a musician. And I said, what kind of music do you like? What kind of music do you play? So I play rock. And I said, well, rock